Hi everybody, this is Peggy Mercer and today is my YouTube presentation. April the 22nd, Monday, yeah, and we are off to a really great week. It is beautiful here in the South. I can already tell you that it is a really nice day here. I will tell you that John Richards is in the house and I'm trying to talk him into working on his music video, so you can look for a new music video to come out uh, hopefully in the next day or two. Now, when we left on Friday, here's what I was talking about. This is Writing for Love and Maybe Money. Please remember before I get started that as you watch this video, if you will do me a favor, subscribe to the video. When you get through watching the video, click like, because that's how YouTube kind of tallies up the score for the day as far as getting the word out and so on and so forth. And when I left off um, on Friday at the last video, and I kept saying on Friday we're gonna be talking about this, that, and the other. And what I meant was on Monday. So if I say one thing and do another, you people just gonna have to bear with me. It's kind of like when I'm cooking, I just throw everything I want in the pot and cook it and see what happens. And so that's the best way to do it, I think. So, what I had spoken to you about was we were talking about climax, and we were talking about falling action, and we were talking about how to sew this story up that you've written, this book that you've written. We talked about how to tie all of your loose ends together, because see, you don't want to leave this reader hanging. If you do, she's not going to read another book. She's going to say, goodness, I'm not real sure what happened, and I sure don't like that ending, so I'm not going to read another one of her books. So what we can do is we can tie our loose endings up. And so I had gotten you past the literary elements. I had discussed them, some of them not in terrific detail, and some of you have asked for more detail. One girl that I saw over the weekend was asking me to go in to elaborate on how to choose and pick out settings, and I was trying to tell her that it depends on the characters and what they're doing as a lot to how you come up with the setting. And I am going to go back and pick out some of these details that journalists use in their inverted pyramid, and I hope they're still using that. I know we used it a long time ago when we were looking to become journalists at the University of Georgia Law. Man, what a time we had up there. We majored in partying and we majored in good things, and there was a lot of marching going on back in those days about Vietnam. And yes, it was an exciting time, and yes, there were a lot of great writers at the University of Georgia back in those times. I know my buddy right here in this picture, Louis Grizzard. He was a few years older than me, and then I was not there when Herschel Walker was there. He was a few years behind me coming along, but I do remember, and how have I gotten off into this? You know me, I'm going to be the rambling woman. Um, and I do know that Herschel Walker came along a few years later, and I also do know a lot of the writers that were up there at that time. Louis Grizzard, he was a little bit ahead of me. Dub Taft, one of my very best friends who wrote the book about Georgia Power Company called Big Bets, he was up there, and he was one of my closest friends, has been a lifelong friend of mine. Hello, Dub. How are you? And I hope you're happy down there in paradise. He lives on the coast of Florida, and I'll tell you one thing, he's in a beautiful spot right now. We all who were writers coming along use the inverted pyramid. And I have told many, many writers, think about that inverted pyramid. Think about that thing. What on earth do you do when the action is descending in relationship to importance? And the important information goes at the top, and then the backup information or the filler information, the stuff that you can pack that with, goes further down as you go. And so we want to write our novels a lot like that. I had been from the beginning of the literary elements discussion and the videos on literary elements. I have gone through your literary elements. If you have taken notes like I asked you to, you would know right where you are with your own writing. And I hope that your book is coming along well. You must let me know. People are letting me know. I've had a couple of people that wanted me to look at what they were writing, and I'm a little bit busy right now, but I will soon look look over what you're writing. I cannot do more than 3 chapters and a really good synopsis. Now, believe it or not, I have writers that don't know what I'm talking about when I say the word synopsis. I'm saying summary, okay? You must have a summary or a synopsis before you take this book to a publisher. Now, I fully plan to give you a fabulous discussion on publishing markets, publishing resources, places you can go to. Right off the tip of my head, I know so many places that you can go to investigate getting your book published. I know so many people that want to get their book published. I know a lot of people that write just to satisfy their narcissistic tendencies. They just have something they want to say to the wall, I guess, and so they call that writing. And I know a few English majors that just want to blurt out to the world how they feel about certain subjects. And you know what? You won't have very many readers unless you can make this material accessible, even in your writing, if it's nonfiction. I'm going to talk to you in great detail the differences in nonfiction writing and fiction writing. I'm kind of known as a nonfiction writer. This book up here that won me Georgia Author of the Year was based on a true story in my family. And I've told you a little bit about that. I will discuss that again, you're sure of that. The books that are set on the Georgia coast, one of my best friends and I, Brenda Finch, and her husband, we all were so close and stuff. And so all of these stories, although there's fiction in them, you may say historical fiction, of which I've written some of that too. We talked about in these videos leading up to getting you to a place where you can actually write your own book. In these videos, we talked about great beginnings, and now we've talked about great endings a little bit, and I'm going to elaborate a little bit on that today. I'm going to tell you that, again, your story or your book has got to tie up its loose ends at the ending of it, because that reader's going to want to know what happened, what just happened, what did I read, and what happened to what happened. This is the ending of the book, okay? You've come to the stopping point. Okay, the stopping point, someone said to me the other day, how do you know when to stop with your writing? Well, a lot of that depends on the technical elements that you're going for. If you're going to write 40,000 words, I can tell you that you need to stop at 39,999 words. You need to know where to stop with this project, okay? So a lot of where to end the book. starts with what market are you writing for? How many words are they requiring out of you? How many words are you shooting for? A lot of it depends on the word count, and we talked about that, and we'll talk about that again also. I'll go into great detail of some of the details that I've already discussed. I'm going to elaborate a little bit on great endings. Some of the best writers in the world have great beginnings and great endings. Their books are their works of writing, their novels or their essay books, even poetry books, and some of my poetry books have been on the bestseller list for American poets. I am vastly proud of this. One of the books, The Faithful Poems of Big Daddy Allen, and I don't have a copy right here. All the copies are sold out. But I will do a video on how to write great poetry. I don't want somebody writing a string of their feelings along and a lot of sentences that never go anywhere and calling it poetry. I just don't want that to happen. And so poets will say, oh, but that's my free verse. Yeah, and those books are free too, because you can't give those books away. Am I right or am I wrong? Come on, admit it. Now, if you want to write great books, essays, poetry, that writing has to be accessible to that reader. That reader has got to come along and say, what's this to me? We used to go to the Frist in Nashville, Tennessee all the time and look at the exhibits. Now, John played music up there, and he and his band played 1 gig a month up there, in fact, and we loved to go to the art museum. We used to look at all that art, and every piece of art that we looked at, just like a written piece of art, a book or essays, has to relate to me. How do I feel? What do I get out of this? And what I get out of it as it relates to my life might mean something else to the next reader. Basically, the plot, remember what I said about the plot. The plot is the engine that drives this book, and within that plot, you have these scenes that you write in these chapters to get a consistently and technically correctly formatted novel. Now, these scenes hint, they give me lots of hints at what is to come, and I'm working my way up toward the climax, and all of this works together for a great novel, and you are learning, and I'm so happy to hear from people who are learning. I want to say hello to some people today. Lynn Barrington Pack, where are you? I love you so much. And I think Lynn has some things that she wants to write, and I know that Judy McConnell down in Navarre Beach has some stuff she wants to write. And maybe I'll help her because I like to help her. And I will, like I said, I will look at what you're writing. All you have to do is send me a message. You can make a comment on here. You do see where you can do that. If we get to the end of this book, we tie up our loose ends. I've already said that about 13 times in this video, I think. And so lucky 13, lucky you. Your ending has to, it doesn't need to end real abruptly. Tell me what happened. In my book, The White Bird of Gold, which somebody commented on over the weekend and just said how much they loved knowing what happened to these ladies as they went on with their life. I want to read you right now, if I may, take up 1 minute more of your time, the ending of The Alchemist. Now, I told you that I have books in there that I won't loan. This is one of them. I won't loan this book. I won't loan any of my books by Paulo Coelho, one of the best writers in the world. He is a Brazilian author. I recommend anything he writes, and everything he writes. I recommend him more than I do Stephen King, although, as you know, I love him too. This is literary, stunning writing. You cannot get any better than this. When he started his book about San Diego, it is pronounced, he started like this. The boy's name was Santiago. Dusk was falling as the boy arrived with his herd at an abandoned church. This tells me instantly what the character's name is, Santiago, what time of the day it is. Dusk was falling as the boy arrived. It gives me the motion of the novel with his hurt at an abandoned church. And in the next few paragraphs, I find that the boy is trying to sleep and he's laid his head down on the floor, and what's going on in his mind is go somewhere. Of course, that's a thing that's used a lot. Now, in the ending of this book, before you get to the epilogue, before you get to the ending comments, which is the epilogue, Paulo Coelho goes into this book, and this is the ending paragraph. The boy stood up shakily, so we know that he's touched by an angel, so to speak, and looked once more at the pyramids. They seemed to laugh at him, and he laughed back, his heart bursting with joy. Oh, what an adventure he had going to see the pyramids, his lifelong dream. They seemed to laugh, and he laughed back, his heart bursted with joy, because now he knew where his treasure was. So this young guy goes on a journey and sees the alchemist, and in the wind and the sand blowing in the eastern deserts there. If you've never read this author, you must read him. I used to read everything that came out, and then I got to a point where I could only read the best writing ever written. And this book, and I just totally love this author. I've never met Paulo Coelho, but one of my goals is to sit down with him and have a little chat. But I can tell you one thing, I have books in there in my mother's mahogany hutch with the glass doors that I wouldn't take nothing for. And I have a real good friend that has sung with the Oak Ridge Boys all his life, Joe Bonsall, and he writes nonfiction too. And he has a new book coming out, believe it or not, called Musings, and you're going to be really happy about that. It's his thoughts and memories of his great life in music. Hello, Joe and Mary and family. I'm excited about that book and can't wait to get my autographed copy. I've used his book. I've used Richard Sterban's book about his memories of playing music with Elvis. And I've used a good many. I've used Joe's book about his mother and daddy, G.I. Joe and Lily. So I've had the privilege of speaking at a lot of conferences, and I've always given speeches on writing nonfiction. What's the difference? I'm going to talk to you in the next video. I'll hit on that a little bit. I want you to realize that this ending of your great novel has to give that reader, it's nice if you can give them a good feeling. Tell them what happened in the book. Tell them what the narrator's result was. Did he live? Did he die? Did he jump out of the plane? Did he fall overboard? Did somebody save him? Or what did anybody do? Did he run for president? We need a new president, don't we? Anyway, I'm here to tell you, folks, that I appreciate you so much coming on to the video. I appreciate you joining me. I appreciate you subscribing. please do that. And in the next video, we're going to go into a little bit more detail about the different genres of writing. What's the difference in nonfiction and fiction, and how do you write some truth in your nonfiction without getting 95 million lawsuits against you? We're going to discuss the difference in the different kinds of writing, the different categories and genres in the next video, which will be this coming Friday. I want to thank everybody for joining me. It's a beautiful day. Have fun. Look for the John Richards Jazz Nashville video, if you will, on YouTube. And we're going to do that maybe tomorrow morning, so he'll be up with a new video tomorrow. I may get him to sing with me. I may get him to sing for me, because let me tell you, he won't let me sing with him. And I'm going to stick to the writing. But I will see you guys on Friday, and thank you.